Hi buddy, it's crazy. It's Wednesday, and it's time for the last learned experience video. Now before I get started, gotta give a shout out to my trusted because you guys rock. To my crazy fam, love you guys. And to my patrons, thank you for your support. Now, y'all heard it right. This is going to be the last learned experience video, which is episode number 35. Now, isn't that ironic? I actually did it. Now, I was trying to hope to go for 35 and end it on chapter 35, or not chapter 35, but episode 35, and I did it. So, without any further ado, we are working from Automate the Boring Stuff with Python, and I got to chapter 17 last week, and I made a goal that I was going to get 17 and 18 done this week, if not next week, and I did it this week. I am very proud of myself. I think I did a great job. So let's go on over here as soon as I find my mouse and go to 387, which puts us on chapter 17. Yay! Manipulating images. Now, this one was kind of an easy go for me because 17 was talking all about images, how you use Python and the Pillow program in order to use it, to manipulate images on your screen. And it was basically like using Pygame, but an older school style. Okay, so I like Pygame a little bit better because you can actually do some cool stuff with Pygame. But nonetheless, you get some good, the standard stuff. Okay, image fundamentals are, your standard color names. White, green, black, red, blue, yellow, purple. Different colors. You use the Pillow program in order to, get a color, and then you name that color, and then you give it, you use the RGBA values, which is red, green, blue, and alpha. So, I mean, it's pretty simple. I mean, if you did anything with any kind of imaging program, you should know about colors, the RGBA values, RGB values, hex values, so on and so forth. A lot of people like to use hex values. I still haven't gotten to learn that much about it yet, but I will be getting into it. But they have a full list of more than 100 standard color names that you can find on the No Starch website at Automate Stuff. If you're curious, if you're following along with me in this book, you should be able to, when you get, hopefully you've gotten to this point. If not, this is all spoiler alert. But it's not really spoiling it because you actually learned it as you go, any rate. So, coordinates and box tuples, basically like in Pygame, you've got your left side, which is basically this side right here. Okay. Then you've got your top edge, which is this one. It's your X and Y. And then your X and Y again, which is your right side, and then your bottom. Okay. So basically, you've got a rectangle. And it's the same thing in just about every drawing program you can think of. Okay, the Pillow module, okay, they call it Pill, is based off the old Python image library, and there's a long story about it, something about backwards compatibility, so on and so forth. But me and myself, wasn't that interested. I just was, okay, all I have to do is import Pill. Okay, that's the way I'm going to do it. All right, so I got into working with the image data type. Okay, it tells all about what the image, its width, its height, its the file name, the format, the description, you name it, and then you can save it. Okay, and it goes on about how to save new images, how to crop images, how to copy and paste images into other images, which was kind of fun. But that's you can do this all in Paint on Windows or whatever drawing soft drawing program. I'm gonna say soft because it's very easy. A child can play with it on every other operating system that you got, Linux, iOS, and so on and so forth, or Mac. Poor Mac. The pasting transparent pixels was kind of fun because I learned a little bit more about image masking. Resizing an image, standard stuff, rotating, flipping images, rotating and expanding with expanded true, flipping an image, and changing individual pixels. Way back when I was in high school, you could draw, but you had to draw per pixel. And I had, I had done a lot of that back when I was in high school, but unfortunately, things happen and life takes away memory. So the older you get, the more you forget. So when you see an old person walking around, half the time they have no idea where they're at. Okay, so then I got into adding a logo, which I'll bring that one up right here. Okay, this is, let me scroll up. It tells you about, what on the high level, what do you do? Basically what the whole program is going to do. This is what it's going to do programmatically. And it was pretty fun, but there's only one problem with the logo, is that the logo was actually bigger than the actual pictures that you were putting the logo on. So yeah, if you take a picture and you put a logo like that on it, yeah, you're just watermarking the crap out of it because no one will see what you're talking about. But unfortunately, he didn't explain what you needed to do in order to fix it, and that came later. And so it came later as part of one of the practice projects, or not the practice, yeah, one of the practice projects you do at the very end of the chapter. And see, hang on, I'm gonna come back to this one, which is drawing on images, which is after this one. But this one right here, okay, it shows you, you got to be able to shrink the logo down in order to make it fit. And that's what all this code right here is for. It just shrinks down the logo. And then you size all your images to the same size, and then the logo works. Because now your logo, your width minus the logo width, and your height minus the logo height gives you that whole thing, and it just works out easier. So that was that whole program. And like I said, it was the extended one. Let's see, yeah. And the last one was drawing on images, okay? So which was pretty easy, Whenever you use shapes to draw, of course, you got points, which is a pixel, okay? Pen in paint. Lines, the pencil. Rectangles, ellipses, polygons, and those are just some of the things that you can use to make it, to draw certain things. And you can draw these things by following along with that. Of course, you do a drawing example, and you draw different shapes and stuff like that. It tells you which ones which one it is, and if I were to run this program, it would show you each one of these. It will show you the line, it will show you the rectangle, the ellipse, and the polygon, and the point. So, I mean, that's the whole idea behind this, was learning how to mess with images, changing color sets, so on and so forth. If you like to do pixel art, this right here is right up your alley. I mean, if you just like to mess around with pixels, this one's one to do. I mean, the pillow module is pretty fun to play with if you're trying to do per pixel drawings. Drawing text was even more fun. I love Old English, so this right here, I was playing around with it, and I'm like, yeah, I want to do some Old English on this sucker. But I had to learn it first, to make sure I got it right, and it was pretty simple, pretty self-explanatory. And guess what? That finished chapter 17. That puts me at one more chapter left. And before you sit there and say, oh, well, he's going to do that next week. No! Remember, I said this is going to be the last learned experience video. Okay? So, let's go on over to chapter 18, which is controlling the keyboard and mouse. Okay? So, controlling the keyboard and mouse is with the program you use, which is the Pi Auto GUI module, which, if you use it incorrectly, can really mess up your computer, and it can, cause all kinds of havoc on your computer. So you want to stay on track with stuff. Whenever you're doing this, you want to make sure that you're following, your instructions perfectly. So that way you're making it correct all the way through. You can't just throw code in there and be like, okay, let's see how this works. And then your mouse starts doing all this, Not going to be fun. But sometimes the best thing you can do when something gets out of control is just log out of it. When you log out, it automatically shuts it down. It, tells it kill program. Okay? That's a little bit, like overkill. That's like taking a sledgehammer, to an egg. not, you don't really want to shut your whole system down to get one little program to work, but sometimes you have to. That's one of the one of the things you can do. Now, there are some other things you can do, which is having pauses and fail safes in your programming. Okay, now PyAuto GUI has a pause feature where you can pause it for so many seconds. So if your mouse is doing this, but in between every iteration, it stops for a second, which will give you enough time to either come over to the X or come over here to the very top corner and basically get it to shut down. Which brings me to the failsafe. If the failsafe is set to true, if you come all the way over here to this very top corner right here, just shove it right up into the corner, it will automatically cause it to error out. In other words, it will give you a function error. And what that will do is basically halt the program, so that way you have control of your mouse and your keyboard back. It's kind of nice to have that, but if you're doing it right, the pauses actually really, really help, because you can go through each one, and as you're doing your program, it's like, oh, okay, since it pauses for a second, you go, oh, well, hang on, Control C. If you're using the Python IDLE, which is what I use, some other people use other stuff. I'm not holding anybody against whatever program makes you feel comfortable doing Python. Go for it. If it fits you, it fits you. I just like using the IDLE because it's bland. There's no dark value or anything like that you have to fight over. I mean, you can do the dark value on it, but anything can go dark. But the whole idea is, for me, I just like to have the bare bones. Bare bones is easy for me. I don't need all the extra bells and whistles, because those bells and whistles distract me. Later on in time, I will probably use those just for convenience sake. And that's what those are. They're for convenience, because you've already been through this. You've already learned it all. You know what you're doing. And, it says, okay, hey, you might have forgotten this. It's kind of that little dude that says, hey, hands over shoulders, you missed a spot, dude. Okay? But the IDLE is just bare bones. If you screw it up, it's just going to throw you an error every time. So, it gives me a way to go back and look and say, oh, where did I mess up on my program? Oh, it's right here. Okay, so I can fix it. So for all those people who, don't like the IDLE, I understand. Don't get me wrong, it's not the best thing. But for a bare bones, this is what I like to use, because of the fact that it's more comfortable for me to learn. Okay, anywho, on we go. Okay, now we can go and control mouse movements. Now that was fun. I thought it was hilarious because my mouse moved and I couldn't move it. It like, if you know anybody's into IT, they love messing with other people's mice, especially when they say, yeah, let me have control of your computer. So, and I mess with my IT guys at my job, and whenever they get a hold of the computer, I'll tap the mouse every now and again. It drives them nuts. Well, don't say that too loudly. They might get mad at me. But messing with the mouse is pretty fun. It's always been fun. A lot of your joke programs way back when, they manipulated the mouse to where it does stuff. You can actually make, way back when, make your computer CD tray come out, all kinds of fun stuff. As long as it didn't hurt somebody, really mess up somebody's job or something like that. And this program can, so be careful. All right, so moving the mouse was pretty easy, because you give it coordinates. You say, hey, move to, this location, and you're going to do it every 0.25 seconds. Okay, so it's going to move to a certain point. So, basically all I did was make a square, and it wanted me to do it 10 times. I said, no, we're only going to do it 4, because I'm impatient. But the whole idea was, to show you how you can, move the mouse around. Now, this is for the entire screen. So 100 pixels, 100 pixels, 100 pixels. It's going to do it right here. Well, if you do it relative, move relative, okay, if your mouse is here, then it's going to do a square. And if you move it again, it's going to do one over here, and then over here. Wherever that position of the mouse is currently on your screen, it's going to do it from that point, okay? Getting mouse positions, that was pretty interesting, because it's got the position as well, the same thing as Pygame does, where it's got mouse.position, which is kind of cool, because I've kind of gotten used to that, and it was pretty easy, and I enjoy it. So, you can find out your mouse position's points by just printing that to the screen. You know, it says, okay, it's at 1903 to 29, which is somewhere over here and up here, or like right around here somewhere. Okay, so I mean, you can change it around, you know, wherever your mouse is, you can get its position, which is kind of cool. All right, takes me on to the next one, which is, where's my mouse now? Which is this one right here. Okay, this one was a fun one because of the fact that if I ran this one right now, which I will do, okay, if I run it right now, you see all this stuff on the screen, but you notice that there's something right here next to my mouse. Wherever my mouse is, it puts something. But with the IDLE, this is what you get because it's just that. Now, as you see, it won't stop running until, I mean, even when I'm off screen, it's still running. So I got to get it to stop. So Control C actually gets it to quit. It makes it say, okay, you're done. But this program itself, if I ran the program from right here, look, now I've got the mouse right up here. It tells me my mouse position wherever it's at on the screen, no matter where I go. Okay, and right now I've got, you know, several screens. I can go way -13. I can go way over here to, you know, 4100. Okay, so I mean the whole point is, you know, it changes up as you go across. You know, if I'm up here in this corner, now it's, you know, 10 at 1902, 1913. Okay, down here it's not, you know, a lot larger as you go. Okay, and I can bring it all the way over here. Okay, so the whole idea of this is to, you know, figure out where your mouse is at. So it was pretty fun. As you see, I was playing around with it. I enjoy it. Yeah, so once you know where your mouse is at, you can find out where your mouse is at and use it to work other kinds of programs. You know, do things in programs that you normally couldn't unless you actually physically clicked it. Okay, so controlling mouse interactions. Okay, you can click the mouse. Now, I thought this was awesome because you can make it click somewhere on the screen, like beep, 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 beep. You know, that's pretty neat. You can do a mouse drag. You know, you can do this right here on the screen without even touching the mouse. All you need is the proper coordinates. Okay, so dot click makes it to where it clicks the mouse. Dragging it makes it to where it drags from one point to another. You know, now most of the time you're gonna do move relative or move to. You can use it on both. All right, then I go into the spiral draw one. Now this little program here actually makes it to where it makes a little square and it goes down to a tiny little bit of square. Okay, but they want, you know, you're gonna move it. Okay, so this one right here tells about it, how you can actually use sleep. You know, you make it wait 5 seconds so you can give it a chance. You can hurt and go to the X and close out of it. Okay, it's like, oh no, I didn't want to do that. Click. Okay. You know, you want it to click. You know, this one you want it to click to put whatever you're clicking on in focus. So in order to get this one on in focus, I'd actually have to click in that area. Okay, and then it shows while the distance, and it says drag reel, and it shows the you know, from the distance to 0. And it says move, that's move right, move down, move left, move up. Okay, so basically, you know, it can do that right there. Okay, scrolling the mouse. Okay, that's this right here. Now, that one right there works okay, but in IDLE, it kind of don't work too greatly because of the fact that it only goes, so it doesn't continue to scroll. You know, working with the screen, you know, this is where you're actually working with your screen right here, and you want it to get that color pixel right there. Now, is it white or black? Well, you can find out, okay, because you're going to get a screenshot. Okay, you take a screenshot of your screen, and then you print the pixel at where your mouse was at that point. So, and then you put that point here. Okay, because that's the get pixel that you want. You want that pixel right there. Okay, you know, you can analyze the screenshot. That actually helps you do it. And then now you got the extended mouse now, which is also an extended version of. It's this one right here. Okay, you know, which is basically the same thing except for it adds a few lines, and it still didn't work great when I tried it. because of the fact that it still wants to do it in idle, and in idle it's a pain in the butt. Okay, now then I got into controlling the keyboard. Now this is kind of fun because there's so many things you can do with the keyboard, right? With the mouse, send a string from the keyboard. You can, click to get it in focus, and then you can get it to type, hello world, and you have to have they have you bring up just another new window, like this, and then you put it over here to the corner, and then it will write hello world right there, and I thought it was pretty cool. These, you can get key names, key names like, for example, A is A, B is B, so on and so forth. The keys for single characters. You can do the enter key, you can do the escape key, left, right, shift keys, left, right, alternate, left, right, control, tab key. And see, this is what caught my interest a lot, because at work, the tab key I use a lot. And when you get to tab through something, it's easier just to hit the tab key, like instead of clicking on it. And so you can bypass trying to get a perfect get to where it clicks on something. As long as you got it in focus, you just use this little deal right here, this little part right here, to where it just clicks on your window at that point. Okay, and so say if I had this whole window up here and I wanted to click on it, I would just type that in, and it would just click it, and at 100 pixels, which I think is about like right here or something like that. And it would click it, put it in focus, and then you can hit tab, 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 tab all you want. And I kind of think that's cool, because that's one of the things that, when I build my little shortcut program for work, I want to be able to do this. And what I'm talking about is at work, I do a lot of, warehouse stuff and driving stuff. So I got to make sure that I, can work in my program and be able to walk away from it, instead of tediously typing stuff out and tabbing through and tabbing. By the time, it's just tedious work, and something that can be automated would be a lot better, because I can, get that program to automate it and run it, and I can go do something else. I can do something else that'd be more beneficial towards my time. And that's why this one caught my attention a lot. So there's all kinds of stuff you can do. You can even do backspace and delete keys, page up and down keys. I mean, there's a whole bunch of them. Mute, volume down, volume up, if you got one of them kind of keyboards. I mean, you name it. Pause key, caps lock key, numbered lock keys, scroll lock keys, insert keys. I mean, you name it. It even works with the command key and the option key on OS X. So there you go. Pretty cool, huh? Pressing and releasing the keyboard, here you go. You can do a key down, like in Pygame, or in anything that requires you to press a key. This one right here makes the key press down. When you hit key down, it presses down the shift key. And if you hit .press now, .press is different. It presses and lets go. Okay? And then you got the key up, which is shift key up. You can bypass this by just doing, press shift, comma, 4, and it will press shift 4 at the same, click like. Okay? You got to be pretty quick. But if you're doing something that's going to take you to literally hold the shift key and then hit 4, okay? You see what I'm saying? So if you've got something, like that, then it'd be easier just to go ahead and do the key up and key downs, so that way you get that iteration. Some people like to do the texting out. You ever see that thing as it writes? Well, that's somebody actually putting, this in with a sleep time on it. Sleep time like this. Every 1 second, it's going to shift 4 and then shift again. It's going to key it down, it's going to press the 4, and then it's going to key up. Okay. Hotkey combinations. You can do hotkey combinations. You can do, control and then C, and then the key up and the control key up. Okay. You can also bypass all the other stuff and just do a straight hotkey, run up, which is basically .hotkey, and you hit control and C, or shift and 4, and it will automatically do that hotkey as if you were actually doing it. So that's kind of cool. I like that, and I'll probably be using that in my program. The review of the PyGUL functions, I put that in because I thought it was just wow. They put it in there to give you more information and help you with it. So I put it in here so I can remember and I can always look back on it. Then I get to the last project, which is called Automatic Form Filler. Now this one was fun. It didn't work out like I expected it to. I was hoping it worked out better. But there's a program that a document you can get on Google and through the No Starch website that you can fill out this little cutesy little form, and we built a program in order to use it, and it worked to a degree. Unfortunately, if you click on the name thing and you don't, let it go into focus by itself, it will not work right. And I tried it and it didn't work right for me, and I kept getting aggravated with it. And I finally said, okay, well, it did work. So as long as I got it to work one, and it was done. So after you do all this stuff and you get the program to work, guess what? Chapter 18 is ended. Book is finished. I completed the book, guys. It's done. I conquered, I finished, automate the boring stuff with Python, and so instead of being at chapter 17, I'm at chapter 18, which is at the end of the book. It's way up, not that far. I don't want to be in the appendices, but this, let me get to it. Okay, that's the last one. And I'm actually wanting to play with this one. So that one's one y'all might see pop up on one of my videos somewhere. But game playing bot tutorial, which is kind of cool. I think it was neat. But you can make Python bots to play video games. And I've seen a lot of people who go, look, I made this bot to play a video game. That's where they get it from. Okay, it's one of the fun things you can do. But this is the end of chapter 18. I'm done with the book. So let's go all the way back up here. So I have finally finished this book. We can close out and go into what I'm going to go talk about now. Now, I'm going to go into BGE programming. I want to do it because I'm building my game Oops in BGE, or in Blender and up BGE, and I really need to learn it and get it back down into my head. I got some of it, years ago, but I lost a lot of it because I spent more time doing modeling, or I spent more time doing music, or I finally was going to go, okay, I'm going to learn a little bit of Python first so I can understand. And then I got lost in Python, and then I fell completely out of messing around with Blender, BGE, and BGE. And I used to be big time into it, enjoyed it. I love watching tutorials. They taught you just enough to make you screw up your entire project. But there are some good people out there that did some really good tutorials for the older version of Blender and BGE, back when the Blender game engine was in Blender. Since they took it out in 2.8, BGE took the reins and went ahead and jumped in it and decided to do it. So if you want to know about that, let's go ahead and I don't even have it on, so we can't even. You can go to the Blender website to get Blender, and you can also go to the BGE site. You don't have to have Blender in order to run BGE. It actually comes as one package, which a lot of people don't understand, and they jump onto Unity or to Godot or one of the other ones that you have to export and import to. BGE is Blender native. It is there, it's in there, and it works. So you can model something and turn it right into a game. So it's pretty fun. So check me out when I get started with that. It's going to be a little bit of probably beginning of next year, because I've got so many things going on for the Thanksgiving, Christmas, and New Year's holidays coming up. So there may not be no video for the BGE yet. When I do get started with that, it's going to be more so of hands-on in the video, doing it in the video, instead of me going over what I've already worked on. I want to actually walk with it. I'm going to, there's one I'm going to work with called From Noob to Pro BGE. learning BGE. And it's an older book, but I'm going to be using 0.2.0 at any rate, so hopefully that'll help me learn a little bit about it. But I'm going to play around with it, and I'm going to move forward. And so, if y'all want to join me in that, stay tuned. I will jump on my server and let people know when I'm going to start doing that. I may start doing it next year. I might start doing it earlier. Don't know yet. I gotta get my bearings on it first, and I do got a lot of work I'm going to be doing with Oops. So stay tuned.